In the early morning hours of November 9th, 2025, Super Typhoon Uwan, internationally known as Fenghuang, made landfall on the eastern coastline of the Philippines. The storm struck with terrifying force, bringing sustained winds of around 185 kilometers per hour and gusts reaching up to 230. Heavy rains drenched much of the island of Luzon as the storm pushed inland from the Pacific Ocean. The Eye of Uwan crossed the coastal province of Aurora before sweeping across Catanduanes, Camarines Sur, and other central regions. The country's Weather Bureau placed several provinces under the highest alert level, warning of life-threatening winds, flash floods, and storm surges powerful enough to engulf entire coastal communities. Ahead of the typhoon's arrival, the Philippine government launched one of its largest preemptive evacuation efforts in recent years. More than 900,000 people were ordered to leave their homes and seek shelter in schools, gymnasiums, and churches designated as emergency centers. Military units and disaster response teams were deployed across the affected regions, preparing for rescue operations once the storm subsided. Hundreds of domestic and international flights were canceled as airports across Luzon suspended operations. Public transportation ground to a halt, and major highways were blocked by early flooding and fallen trees, isolating many rural towns even before the worst of the storm arrived. As the typhoon roared across the eastern provinces, reports of widespread destruction began to pour in. Winds ripped the roofs off houses, uprooted trees, and knocked down power lines, leaving entire neighborhoods in darkness. Along the coastal areas, massive waves surged inland, destroying fishing boats and wooden homes built near the water. Floodwaters quickly rose to waist and even chest height in some areas. In mountain regions, the combination of relentless rain and saturated soil triggered landslides, cutting off access to remote communities. Residents described the sound of the storm as a constant roar, like an endless freight train crashing through their villages.
Grabe!
Across central and northern Luzon, millions of people were left without electricity. The blackout extended from the Bicol region up to parts of Isabela and Cagayan. Communication towers were damaged, making it difficult for authorities to reach isolated areas and assess the full extent of the damage. Emergency responders faced enormous challenges as fallen debris and floods blocked roads, forcing them to rely on boats and military trucks to deliver relief supplies. Officials warned that recovery operations could take weeks, especially in rural towns where infrastructure was already fragile. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. addressed the nation, urging calm and cooperation. He emphasized that the government's priority was to protect lives, not property, and asked citizens to follow evacuation orders without hesitation. Rescue units from the armed forces and police were placed on standby to support local governments, while humanitarian agencies began distributing food, water, and medical aid. Despite these efforts, officials admitted that access to many of the hardest-hit villages remained extremely difficult due to the strength of the winds and the volume of debris scattered across major roads. The humanitarian situation was further complicated by the fact that the country was still recovering from Typhoon Kalmegi, which struck only weeks earlier and left more than 200 people dead. Many communities had not yet fully rebuilt their homes when Uwan arrived, compounding the suffering of thousands of families. Relief organizations expressed concern that temporary shelters could become overcrowded, raising the risk of illness among evacuees. In low-lying areas, emergency workers warned of possible water contamination and shortages of clean drinking water. Scenes of devastation unfolded across the nation. In Catanduanes, residents filmed enormous waves crashing through seawalls and sweeping away homes. In Camarines Norte, rescue teams waded through flooded streets to reach trapped villagers. In Aurora, the province first struck by the storm, entire neighborhoods were flattened, with corrugated metal roofs twisted into heaps of debris. In the capital city of Manila, heavy rain and strong winds toppled trees and billboards, causing power outages and traffic chaos, though the city was spared the storm's most violent winds. As the typhoon continued its westward track, forecasters warned that the danger was far from over. Even after the eye of Uwan moved past Luzon, the storm's outer rain bands continued to dump heavy rainfall across wide areas, raising the threat of flash floods and landslides. Meteorologists predicted that the typhoon would weaken slightly as it crossed into the South China Sea, but would still remain a powerful system capable of causing additional flooding in western provinces. Authorities urged the public to remain alert for after effects, reminding citizens that many fatalities occur not during the landfall itself, but in the days that follow, when rivers overflow and unstable hillsides collapse. Uwan's rapid intensification over the Philippine Sea raised new alarms among scientists studying extreme weather patterns. Experts noted that unusually warm ocean temperatures helped fuel the storm's explosive growth, a phenomenon consistent with global climate change trends. The Philippines, which experiences more than 20 tropical storms each year, remains one of the world's most vulnerable nations to climate-related disasters. Each new storm underscores the urgent need for stronger infrastructure, better urban planning, and international cooperation on climate resilience. As night fell over the battered island, countless families huddled together in the dark evacuation centers, listening to the wind howl outside. Volunteers handed out warm meals and blankets, while local officials worked tirelessly to restore power and clear debris. Despite the immense destruction, the spirit of solidarity among Filipinos remained unbroken. In the face of one of the most powerful storms of the decade, ordinary citizens came together, sharing food, comfort, and hope. One evacuee from the province of Aurora summed it up simply: "We've lost our homes before, but we've never lost hope." In the end, Super Typhoon Uwan stands as a stark reminder of nature's overwhelming power and humanity's fragile place within it. The storm carved a path of destruction across the Philippines, testing the strength and resolve of millions. Yet, in the face of chaos, what emerged was not only devastation, but also an extraordinary sense of unity, courage, and compassion. Families who lost everything found shelter in the kindness of strangers. Communities shattered by wind and water began to rebuild together, one small act of resilience at a time. As the floodwaters slowly recede and the sun returns to the battered coastlines, the true measure of this tragedy will not be counted only in the homes destroyed or the power lines downed, but in the unwavering spirit of a people who continue to rise after every storm. Uwan will pass, as all storms do, but the story it leaves behind of endurance, solidarity, and hope will remain a testament to the unbreakable heart of the Philippines.